Hello everyone. We are back with Trung versus Benjamin. Let me just dash. Where's my Twitch dashboard? Yeah, so we have Trung versus Benjamin. Classes will be Druid, Shaman, and Warlock versus Druid, Rogue, and Shaman. The decks you see on screen right now are not their decks. Let me quickly get into the game, and then we'll bring up Overlay.
Brawl versus my
Looks like we're starting off with Shaman versus
None can
Rogue.
escape my fury.
For Doomhammer.
So let's see, Trung Shaman. This is even Shaman versus what I believe
We have turned
to
our
be
curse into our
Quest
strength.
Rogue. This is in fact Quest Rogue, yes. Deck list should be up on the screen, and let's see, we have an alright start for the Shaman. No Fire, not Fire Bloom. No Merc Spark Deal, which is probably the strongest card in that deck. But decent start with Flame Tongue Totem to put in damage. On the other side, we have a South Sea Deckhand and a Bounce. We have some good delaying cards in Glacial Shards and Giggling Inventor, which can really stall for a really long time. Trung coins out, coin Fire Bloom Phoenix, fights for board. Can't say I disagree with that play. One interesting addition in this deck is Arcane Dynamo, which has a very large chance. I believe there's only 4 or 5 5+ spells in the Shaman pool. Has a very large chance of pulling Bloodlust, which has incredible synergy with the even Shaman deck, which spams out a lot of totems. Just giving myself some advertising.
The calm before the
Sorry about that. Just doing some stream management. Second Menacing Nimbus comes out, which pulls Bonfire Elemental, which Cycle is always nice, especially on an odd turn for even Warlock. Even Shaman. On the other side, we have even more delay cards in Wax Elemental, Giggling Inventor, Glacial Shard. The Glacial Shard from earlier has been played. But one notable problem here is that there's no bounce effects, and so he's going to play the second Wax Elemental and dig deeper into the deck for hopefully more bounce effects. He pulls Stone Tusk Spore, which is not particularly useful right now, and Novice Engineer, which sort of is. Cycle's always good. Wax Elementals obviously roll really well, but the dream is to get them out with like a Sonya Shadow Dancer, for example, and just build an unstoppable wall. Same with Giggling Inventor. You can do really hilariously annoying things with Giggling in Quest Rogue. I'm interested to see Tar Lurker instead of Bonfire Elemental here. Like Tar Lurker doesn't really put much of an offensive threat, whereas Bonfire does, but I guess he wants to protect some of his smaller minions. We see the good old Giggling come out, which is going to be very strong, but on the other hand, we do see that Sea Giant is going to be able to be playable for very cheap for Trung next turn. So it looks like quest completion is probably going to be done by the South Sea Deckhand, but he's still 2 bounce effects away from getting that done. So that's a little unfortunate. We're probably going to see something like Bonfire Elemental into Sea Giant. That'd be a really crazy turn here. Now he goes for Sea Giant Merc Spark instead. I'm not 100% sure I agree with this. Actually, no, I'm good with this. Getting rid of the South Sea is pretty big. Just to make sure that, well, that thing doesn't come back. He does know that there's the other South Sea in hand because Ben did end up playing the one that he didn't bounce, which is a very minor misplay. Not sure it's gonna come in handy. 2 vanishes is huge off Mimic Pot. This is gonna let Ben delay for so much longer. He even picks up a prep to use with either Vanish or the Quest. Next turn, for example, he could do something like South Sea Vanish, get closer to the Quest completion, because that counts as a bounce effect of sorts. And yeah, all this pressure that the Shaman is putting on isn't really amounting to much. I would actually really like to see Arcane Dynamo here and try to push for, try to maybe push for a win that way. Although to be fair, without Vanish, there's no good way for the Rogue to deal with this board. And so I totally can see what Trunks' game plan is here. Even as is, he puts him down to 11 HP, and given stuff like Fire Elemental, like Calamos, the Shaman can actually pull out a pretty good amount of burst from hand. Merc Spark heal too. On the other hand, we do see the South Sea Deckhand vanish, sort of as expected. Yeah, Deckhand vanish. He's 3 out of 5 to the quest, and he manages to clear out a lot. Ooh, there's a big detail. The Fire Elemental was played later than some of the other minions, and so since Trunks' hand is full, the Fire Elemental actually dies to the vanish, so that loses some of that base damage. Merc Spark's gonna come out, both Merc Sparks, putting him down to 7, and I'm guessing Elemental. Yeah, he needs to play the Elemental so that he has a Calamos trigger next turn. Calamos, if I recall correctly, one of his effects deals 6 damage, which is notably not lethal, and so that's going to be a little unfortunate for Trunk here, as either Valera or the second Vanish is going to come out. Looks like it's probably going to be the second Vanish. It is. And so he is technically still alive, since Trunk doesn't have the 10 mana to play Merc Spark plus Calamos, but 1 HP is a pretty rough place to be surviving on. The quest is finished. Unfortunately, he only has 1 mana, so he can't complete the quest right now. And then next turn, again, after playing Valera, he's still only going to have 1 mana. So that's still going to be really tight. As the rogue player here, you really want to get either the second Giggling Inventor, or you want either a second Giggling Inventor or something like the 1/3 Lifesteal Charge, Vicious Scalehide, to be able to either wall up or gain some health really quick. Valera is almost definitely going to come down here. In fact, I think it has to survive, and that's exactly what's happening. And so Valera puts him out of range, 10 HP. But yeah, he still really needs to draw into some life gain. We could see something like Novice Engineer, Elven, Minstrel, Scalehide. Oh wait, no, he needs to complete the quest. It needs to be Prep, Quest, Minstrel, and try to draw in some Scalehides. Looking at the minions in the deck, looks like there's a fairly reasonable chance he gets a Scalehide off this. He might even go... Oh, he gets Scalehide off the top. That's huge. I think we're almost definitely going to see Prep, Crystal, Core, Scalehide. And with that much mana, he can even bounce the Scalehide. Oh wait, no, never mind. It's gonna die to Tar Lurker. Definitely the second Scalehide needs to come out. He knows he needs this life gain. Second Scalehide does in fact come out. We're gonna see a Stone Tusk Boar come down to fight with the taunt, I'm guessing. Scalehide gains some more life against the Flame Tongue, and it gets bounced. That's my guess. And that is exactly what's going to happen. And so at 18 HP against this board, facing down 5, 7, 9, 15, 17, and unfortunately Trunks still remains 1 damage off lethal if I'm not miscounting. Let me just verify. This is 4, 9, 11, 17. Yes, to 18 HP. That is very unfortunate. It doesn't look like there's another way for him to get lethal. Unless maybe the Earthen might pull some elemental that I'm not thinking of. I'm not sure I can think of a good elemental that
That was a mistake.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Hex stops him from putting as much face damage in as he'd like, and so yeah. The Rogue's definitely far from stabilizing. It's still really dangerous. Vanish here helps a lot. I think we might see something like maybe even Prep Vanish, but definitely at least Vanish and Minstrel. We might see like Prep Minstrel Vanish. That'd be pretty cool. I like that a lot. Prep. Yep, he is gonna go Minstrel. He's gonna dig. The Vanish is gonna let him get the Minstrel back. He's gonna Vanish first so that the Minstrel is just a presence on board. I can definitely see that too. He doesn't have that many cards left in his deck, and so draw is always nice. 15 HP is reasonably safe in this spot. And if he needs to, he can always bounce it back with Brewmaster. Sonya's Shadow Dancer is really huge. And yeah, if he manages to duplicate Glacial Shards, for example, that's going to be huge. The other thing Sonya's absolutely amazing with is Vicious Scale Hide. Being able to heal with constant 4/4s is completely ludicrously good. On the other side, Calamos is not active right now, but double Merc Spark heal. Man, these Merc Sparks have been played so many times this game. It's going to let him continue to fight for board. But we're getting to the part of the game where we start to favor the Rogue. One thing of note, some versions of Quest Rogue I think I've seen run Baleful Banker as an option to basically go infinite in the end game. There is no Baleful Banker here. And so, while the Rogue can't go infinite, I believe with 7 cards left and the amazingness that is Shadow Reflection, Benjamin's still gonna have no problem sustaining into the late game. And Scale Hide is there. Scale Hide's gonna come down. He's probably gonna trade it off into Light Spawn. He is. He's gonna get another 1 mana Scale Hide. This is just so good right now. Scale Hide's gonna trade off into Knife Juggler. We're probably gonna see Glacial Shard into the... I would trade off into 2/3, yeah. That way you get another Glacial Shard off Sonya. It's amazing. Kill the 1/1 with face. And yeah, this is looking really good for the Quest Rogue player now. Calamos finally comes out, but 3 damage to all minions is not super inspiring. It does get rid of the Sonya, which is super important. Sonya is way too threatening here. But the face plan is sort of conclusively done for the Shaman player. We see that there are a lot of high value minions still in the Shaman deck. We see, I believe, a second Sea Giant. I don't think the first one died. Lich King exists in there, Alantir, Agatha. But Giggling Inventor, which is totally ridiculous in this matchup, is going to build an absolutely crazy board. Sea Giant comes down, Arcane Dynamo to dig for an answer, although I'm not sure what answer you could get here. None of this is going to be particularly relevant, and that is a lot of damage on the board. I don't believe it's quite lethal. It is not lethal, but with Shadow Step available to make Shadow Step and Lola available to play even more Giggling Inventors, I think I'm pretty confident that this game is probably gonna go in the favor of the Rogue player. Shaman really wishes Devolve was still in standard right now, but unfortunately it is not.
I'm almost out of cards.
And
I hope you like my invention.
I'm out of cards.
might be some BM card draw going on here. I don't know what's up, but I mean, I don't think it matters. Yep, there's definitely some BMing going on here. But just to be safe, Glacial Shark comes down to using Sea Giant. Just quickly looking at the Shaman deck, I don't believe there's any answer that can save this game. Like Hagatha might have been it, but even Hagatha would have struggled a lot to clear this board, and yep, that is gonna be the game. And so game 1 concludes in the favor of our Rogue player with Trunk Shaman eliminated. And I'll be curious to see what deck Trunk brings out next. Quickly looking at the list, I believe Trunk's bringing Token Druid, I want to say. And then Token Druid and Zulok. So Zulok is an incredibly favored matchup against Quest Rogue. I believe it's in the vicinity of 70% win rate. And so Trunk's gonna go straight for the hard counter and try to even this back up 1-1. Let me very quickly update the overlay to reflect what has just happened. That is incorrect. Trunk is 0-1 against Benjamin. And so yeah, we do see Zoo versus Rogue. Did the mulligan blow up for... Oh no, Trunk probably pitched all 4 cards while I was fudging with the overlay. I hope so at least. Otherwise, there's a possibility that the spectator UI blew up, but that does not appear to be the case. Very strong opener for Trunk. Cobalt Librarian to draw. He pulls a Voodoo Doctor. He has Fungal Enchanter. What he really wants to draw into right now is Happy Ghoul for the really explosive Zoolock opener that basically all but guarantees this game to be won. In the rogue list, we see one copy of Man of Knives. Oh my god, and the Happy Ghoul off the top. That has gotta be the dream. This is gonna be a very, very difficult game for the rogue player. Scale Hide trades decently early, but like it's not great. Curious to see what happens, and yeah, he is just gonna dagger up, save the heal for the heal of the Scale Hide for later, because that's one of the only ways that the rogue player can stabilize in a matchup like this. Okay, doubling Imp's gonna come down just to put even more board presence. And yeah, we see in the Quest Rogue, the only real way for a Quest Rogue to deal with a big board like this is Vanish. Specifically Prep Vanish, and we see that Vanish is nowhere in sight, and neither is Prep. Even a Prep Vanish wouldn't be amazing against this, because you can just go for Flame Imp, Voodoo Doctor, Happy Ghoul again, and be pretty happy about this. So Scale Hide gets bounced. I mean, it's solid enough, but without something crazy like Prep Vanish or Sanya, well, I really don't see how Rogue survives this onslaught. Vanish comes up, but there's still no prep, and is that lethal? He's gonna put down a Wax Elemental, try to copy it. Wax Elemental dies to 2 minions, and that is exactly 1-off lethal. And so far off the top, that is game. Incredibly fast second game, and a very favorite matchup to bring it back to 1-1. And Wild Quest Rogue is crazy strong in this meta. It's really good against so many of the greedy decks that exist right now. Decks like Zoo, Odd Paladin, Odd Rogue are going to give it a hard time, and we see exactly that here. In fact, I think Quest Rogue might be a little stronger in the Conquest format than it is in Last Hero Standing, because it's really easy for you to get one win with Quest Rogue. But in Last Hero Standing, when you can queue counter decks into each other, especially the format we have, where if you win, you're forced to queue with the same deck, makes it very, very difficult for the Rogue to get more than one win, because it has such brutally lopsided matchups. So curious to see what comes out to combat the Rogue. It is going to be the Shaman.
Versus Thrall!
And so if we look at the Shaman deck, it is Shudder and Shake, aka Shudderwalk. This is the standard Shudderwalk list we've seen recently. It's sort of a more mid-range list with Prince Keleseth to get really big value. It sacrifices the ability to go infinite as consistently with Shudderwalk as the old version would do with like Murmuring Elemental and Fireblue Harbinger, but it gets really, really good tempo, and often dropping into Shudderwalk that duplicates itself twice is already enough to carry the day. Zoo, on the other hand, is obviously aiming to put on the pressure in a matchup like this and win before the Shudderwalk gets big. But with cards like Lightning Storm, Healing Rain, Volcano, and the newly, new-ishly released Electra Storm Surge, Shudderwalk has plenty of ways to control board and stay alive. Mind Control tech's obviously really good here too. Keleseth off the top is great. I'm actually a little surprised to see that not come down. Like, I understand that, you know, it's not quite on curve, but it's always been really hard for me to resist playing Keleseth immediately whenever I have it. Crazy good turn here for Trung. He manages to play the Fungal Enchanter, heal 2 minions, and buff up his Blight Ward for 5-2, and drop Happy Ghoul. And while this could potentially get punished by a big Lightning Storm, we see that Lightning Storm is not yet in hand, and Volcano occasionally struggles to deal with really wide boards. Mind Control tech hits the best option, nothing to see here. Draw last into Lightning Storm. I wonder if Ben's regretting that a little bit, although while he's going to take a lot of damage here, he has some really big removal in hand, and so I think he's still looking pretty okay. Trun's opting to trade off a bit of the board. I can sort of see where he's coming from, just because he doesn't want to get punished too hard by AoE, and wants to leave the Acolyte draws to a minimum. Acolyte into Volcano, for example, is really strong because it lets the Shaman draw several cards while clearing the board. And so Trunk's going to hold on to the board. Storm here is not fantastic, but Storm Keleseth isn't bad at all. And so Keleseth does finally end up coming down. Storm low rolls on both 3 health minions. That's gotta feel bad. And Fungomancer is immediately gonna take advantage of that RNG swing. Sorry, just hydrating a little bit. Saturday Night Chain Gang off the top is a fantastic draw here. Saturday Night obviously benefits amazingly from Kelisat's Blessing, and if either of the Chain Gang parts survive, which does not look like it's happening, it's a really good bounce target for Grumble too. Life Drinker is going to come down as such, or as is. It's basically just a 3-3, which isn't particularly threatening. I think we might see Grumble as a 7-7. Just a nice overstated minion. Perfectly happy to see this. We see a Saturday Night. We see him choose not to so far declare Grumble instead opting for face damage. Can't blame him for that. And I'm a little curious to see whether or not we're going to see something like Hero Power, Storm, Mana Tide would be really good, for example. Although maybe he's a little scared after the last time he low rolled with the Storms. Or maybe Gambler's Fallacy. He feels like the game owes him a high roll now. He's going to go for the Storm. We're going to see both Saturday Nights die, so that's a pretty middling, not bad Storm outcome. And I think Mana Tide might be coming down now for draw. So he's going to go for the Acolyte instead. It does represent 4 draw with the Volcano, and also it fights for board better than Mana Tide Totem will, especially a non-Kelisat buff Mana Tide. That's still interesting to see. Soul Infusion works has great synergy with Doubling Imp, obviously, is one of the reasons why Doubling Imp exists in this deck. But looks like we might be seeing a Life Drinker instead. No, Saturday Night Chain Gang. And then he's gonna Soulfire away the Grumble. I actually maybe would have liked to see Soulfire first. But I guess I'm alright with this ordering. He doesn't want to discard the Saturday Night. And then he manages to hold on to one of his 2 Doubling Imps, given that both Doubling Imps are on the far left side of his hand. Soul Infusion works well here. And while he's not quite at lethal, he is getting sort of close. Interested to see what's going to come out from the Shaman player here, since he's I feel like he just really needs to dig for cards, right? I wouldn't be upset to see something like Zola Mana Tide. Just make sure that he continues to have draw and fight decently for board. But it is weird that this Mana Tide's just been staying at home for so long, given that he could really use that draw, and Mana Tide ends up being a big magnet for damage. He's gonna end up committing a 4-4 Gluttonous Zeus. There's no weapons destroyed in this matchup, obviously, and it just fights for board fairly well. And he's not gonna go Zola. Okay, he feels like nothing here is really worth copying, and he finally does play the Mana Tide, so he's gonna have that sustained draw. Soulfire is probably gonna end up going into something here. So he's debating face damage. Life Drinker is 3, Leroy is 6, and Soulfire is 4, so that's 3, 9, 13, which means that with a face hit, that is technically lethal. If the Shaman doesn't pull a Healing Rain or something, it looks like that is the game plan he's going to go with. I really like that. It's really strong. He has minions on board that can continue to threaten. And I mean, Healing Rain... there's 2 copies in this Shaman deck. Oh, Healing Rain off the top. What a draw. That is great. He could even do something like trade in some minions, Volcano Healing Rain. MC Tech is a little dangerous. Pulls a 2-1 taunt, which is not really a great outcome. I think so the taunt can get healed up by Healing Rain, but it also takes away heals from the face. I think I sort of want to see a Hex come out here. Is he gonna Zola the Saturday Night? He is gonna Zola the Saturday Night. And so he's gonna have 3 taunts, but that's not gonna be enough. Zulak's gonna take another game. He can just kill the 3 taunts. Leroy Soulfire, that's guaranteed lethal. Let's see if Trunk sees it. Come on, you were counting this last turn, you know. And it looks like he probably does see it. Don't get baited by the Fungo Enchanter. Don't get baited by the Fungo Enchanter. You have lethal, buddy. Oh no. Is he missing lethal?
Mushroom power!
He's missing lethal! Oh, that's really unfortunate. I wonder if that's going to swing the course of this game. We might see Ben, for example, just trade everything in. Volcano Healing Rain. He has Shudderwalk now. Like, this could be really bad. That's a very unfortunate miss lethal. Farsight to dig, Farsight to dig again. This means that he no longer has mana for Volcano Healing Rain, and I would like to see some minions get traded in to guarantee that big Healing Rain heal. And that's exactly what he's gonna go for. He has 2 mana Volcano from the second Farsight too. He might even just trade more minions in and Volcano to clear, or he might choose to go for the Life Drinker instead. Interested to see what's happening here. Looks like he will go Life Drinker. It sort of makes sense. It means that he won't overload, which is obviously really good for him. He can play Shutterwalk. On the other side, we have 8, 14, 18 damage. 20 with Soul Infusion, but that's still not going to be lethal. And so, very unfortunate miss lethal from last turn. And now, the Shaman player may be getting out of range. He's continuing to trade off the board. I really don't like this. We're getting to the part of the game where Shaman is looking really strong. Interested not to see Hagatha come down. Hagatha would have been able to clear this board really easily and get even more armor. But Grumble, he does get Grumble after one of the Saturnine effects, which is really strong. Glacial Shard freezes the minion, he plays another Shutterwalk, and yeah, this is getting a little ugly now. He's way out of range of lethal at 30 HP. He's gonna continue to get walks. And yeah, I believe that's probably going to be game in favor of our Shaman player. So a very unfortunate miss lethal from Trung ends up costing him the game. We'll see if this ends up costing him the series too. Trung does still have Druid remaining. It's Token Druid, which is obviously an extremely strong deck. And so it could totally still pull this one back. Whereas Benjamin has to continue queuing up with his Shaman deck. And so the Token Druid, I don't know this for sure, but I would anticipate that it probably has a pretty strong matchup against the Shaman deck, just due to its ability to push such board presence and the fact that it has such a significant burst damage, so that heal effects from the Shutterwalk aren't necessarily so strong. We note that Trung is running the Violet Teacher build of Token Druid, which was a little more popular a few weeks in the past as opposed to currently. We more recently saw builds of Strong Shell Scavenger instead that were better in the mirror and I guess a little better at fighting for board rather than the Violet Teacher build. But I'm pretty happy seeing either. Wow, my messenger is going off. So, as the Druid player here, as always, you're hoping to draw Wild Growth. Wild Growth is amazing. With the Violet Teacher list, you're hoping to draw Oaken Summons. You're hoping to draw Nourish, stuff like that. All very standard. And as Shaman, well, he's getting uncontested card draw, which he can never be unhappy about. We do see the 1 copy of Naturalize in this Druid deck, but you don't really want to naturalize a Manatide Totem. I mean, it's pretty much done its job by then if you do. So we're probably just going to see Hero Power Pass. I'm just taking a quick look at my old friend Vicious Syndicate for the matchup guide. We see Shutterwalk Shaman does in fact have a very negative matchup with Token Druid, as sort of expected, although with a rough starting hand like this, a lot of the anti-aggro cards on Druid, this is sort of the chance for the Shutterwalk to take a potential win. So my friend is going crazy with Fire Emblem Heroes news is what I'm guessing, which makes me a little worried. Ooh, Legendary Tiki, I see. Fierce Breath, oh gosh. Okay, anyways, back to our regularly scheduled Hearthstone, because that is in fact the game we are covering right now. See, Innervate come out to kill Acolyte of Pain and also cause... not a card mill actually. But this is sort of the age-old strategy of give the Shaman so many cards that he can't empty his hands. But I don't think it's gonna work out. He has some low-cost minions that lets him empty his hands efficiently. And so yeah, Druid's gonna continue to not be super proactive, which is unfortunate. It's one of the big differences in this Druid deck where if you don't get the cards that let you spawn a bunch of tokens, a lot of the anti-aggro cards in this deck aren't super strong at pushing pushing your agenda, and this is a deck that's very mana hungry, so not having early ramp is also a big problem. Serenite Chain Gang's gonna come down to contest board, although we see that he is going to mill a card next turn. Now milling is not so bad given that he has most of his combo pieces in hand now. He's played Serenite, he has Grumble in hand, he has Shutterwalk in hand, and so I don't think Ben's super worried about this. Other side of the board, we're probably going to see Nourish for ramp, and then Hero Power Pass, which is another uninspiring turn, but
Let's see.
what can you do? Giggling Inventor is also not really inspiring here. He is going to go for the Giggling. The Shaman player is going to continue milling cards, but again, with the combo pieces you need in hand, do you really care? Like, you can Zola Serenite right now, for example, get more Serenite procs, you get... it's gonna be strong. Sorry, multitasking. Another series is about to begin, and so I might help facilitate the bans there too. Second swipe comes down, and for the first time in this game, our Druid player is finally ahead on board. With Ultimate Infestation to refill, Whispering Wood, Savage Roar, Branching Paths, he can still threaten a lot of damage. And so that's probably going to happen. We're probably going to see a UI headed face. Is my best guess here. We could potentially see Whispering Woods too, but UI is going to come out. He's going to go for the Grumble instead. Not 100% sure I agree with this, but it's not a terrible choice. I just feel like he sort of really needs to start pushing his damage. UI obviously is broken. It gets him all the cards he needs. Whispering Woods going to, like, he has Whispering Woods, Soul of the Forest, Power of the Wild as like a crazy follow-up from here. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Whispering Woods, Soul of the Forest, Power of the Wild. Oh, he's gonna Hero Power instead of Power of the Wild. Maybe saving it for the Treants for even more burst damage. So like Power of the Wild, Savage Roar, Branching Paths is plus 5 damage for every minion you have on board, which is really crazy. It means with just 3-4 minions you get lethal. But we're gonna see Volcano Lightning Storm be able to clear this. Really good answer from the Shaman here, and that's one of the strong power plays from Druid dealt with, and so that's really why I'd like to have seen Power of the Wild. It makes the board slightly more robust. Nonetheless, he's gonna be able to refill a little bit. Looks like it's gonna be Malfurion coming out. I'm not sure if my spectator UI is bugged. No, it isn't. Malfurion's gonna come out. I'm guessing it might even make 1-2 poisonuses. He is gonna end up with taunts. Can't really fault that. Taunts are a little stickier, and it's not like you really want to clear minions, but the poisonuses do have their own utility in dissuading opposing minions. Shaman here is heavily overloaded, and is just going to play a Life Drinker, and we're probably, well, we might see the second Whispering Wood, but I'd actually like to see Giggling Inventor. So that's what's gonna happen. Giggling Inventor, Hero Power. I still want to see Power of the Wild, and we are gonna see Power of the Wild. All right, awesome. Yeah, this again, sticky board, not really easy to deal with. He uses Spellstone to clear the minion, and again, there's a really threatening board. We do see double Mind Control tech in the Shaman hand, though, and that is going to very handily clear up this board, grab some taunts, and I'm sure Ben's happy to see that.
Engaging TC-130 into dislocator. Engaging TC-130 into dislocator.
We have some bans coming in from other series, but it looks like we only have one player. I'm helping facilitate as the middleman so that they can just, do basically atomic bans. Double Mind Control tech pulls basically the average outcome. It pulls one of each minion. So there's some annoying taunts that now need to get cleared out. Nothing too concerning. We see Trung clear one out, cycle a little deeper. Not sure what he's looking for at this moment. Spellstone is pretty good in conjunction with like branching paths, for example. And so I might actually want to see something like a Whispering Woods set up for lethal next turn, where you can branching paths up. Instead, he's gonna go for Savage Roar to clear out some of this board. Really? Oh wait, no, never mind. Here we're used to space there. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't really like the Savage Roar there. I'd rather set up for a next turn, push next turn like Whispering Woods. Although that plays into Lightning Storm.
Dark spirits twist the trees, foul the lake, and curse this
And yeah,
land.
looks like Hatha's gonna come out, gain some armor, clear the board. And at this rate, I think you're debating committing Whispering Woods even without the second Soul of the Forest, which was probably what he was digging for now that I think about it. And so obviously Whispering Woods without Soul of the Forest is not too hard to clear. We're like Shudderwalk would clear it given the Hagatha effect. Volcano will clear it. And he's gonna Spreading Plague for a single 1/5 Scarab. It's a very uninspired. I would rather see Branching Paths to draw then, and looks like that is what's going to end up happening. Branching Paths to draw, try to find the second Soul of the Forest.
Attention, class.
Instead, he gets Violet Teacher, Power of the Wild. These are all pretty good cards here. And with Lightning Storm off the top, we could have seen another Lightning Storm Volcano clear even that Soul of the Forest. But I mean, Shudderwalk's just gonna come down. Why not? He's gonna gain some health. Saronite comes out before the Grumble effect, which means that he's gonna get a second Shudderwalk. He is. And yeah. Easy peasy. Elementary reaction is not super relevant here. Again, he gets the Shudderwalk of the Saronite effect first, even though he only played one Saronite, I believe. So some good luck there. Now he has a lot of Shudderwalks to use for the rest of this game. Freezes the board, does Shudderwalk things, clears minions. It's disgusting. Oaken Summons is gonna pull literally nothing.
Pay attention,
Oh, never mind. I
class.
pulls the second Violet Teacher. Like Whispering Woods, Spellstone, sure. But like this board is just gonna die immediately to Shudderwalks. I think this might be game. I'm not sure I see any way the Druid player recovers from this. And yeah. Storm into walk? I don't know if I like that. I don't think the Storm was necessary. He might just be clearing hand space. Okay, we see hand from the other series.
My jaws that bite, my claws that catch.
So it looks like we have another series that we'll head into right after
My
this.
jaws that
As,
bite.
well, this one does approach endgame.
My jaws that bite.
Yeah, I think this is probably lethal, right? Yeah, the next Shudderwalk is lethal. So, yeah, that's game. And that's gonna be a 3-1 series win in favor of Ben. Just gonna watch out the remaining Shudderwalk effect. That is in fact lethal. That is game over. We are gonna get into the next series. It's gonna be Josh versus David. I'm not actually sure I have David on my friends list. I need to verify this, but we can definitely spectate from Josh's point of view. And yeah, that Miss Lethal in the Warlock game from Trung is gonna comes back to bite him in the rear, and that's very unfortunate for him. Let me just double check. So Josh is just coming online. David I do not have on my friends list, but we're gonna add him real quick. And looks like they're about to get started in a little bit. This gives me some time to set up overlay. So let's see. Josh banned Druid, David banned Hunter. So that leaves David with Rogue, Warlock, and Warrior. Rogue, Warlock, Warrior. Versus Josh's Paladin, Rogue, and Warlock. Of note, Josh is the only player to bring Paladin to this tournament. I was a little surprised to see that. I personally think Odd Paladin is quite a strong deck. Paladin, Rogue, Warlock. Yeah, I think it's a pretty strong deck, but to each their own. But it is in fact Odd Paladin, I want to say. Yeah, it is Odd Paladin. We're just waiting for him to come into game now. Gonna chill for a bit while waiting. I guess in the meantime I can watch that watch the hero review from Reveal in FEH. That's some real bullshit. That's all I'm gonna say on that topic. Anyways, back to Hearthstone. We're still waiting for our next contestants to get into game, which is perfectly fine. Looks like David's finishing up a ladder game. That explains a lot. And they are about to start. Excellent, excellent. Looking forward to this series. Yeah, just quickly looking at the lineups, we have Odd Paladin, Odd Rogue, and I believe it's Even Warlock? Let me check real quick. It is Odd Paladin, Odd Rogue, and Q Block actually, versus let's see, David is bringing Quest Rogue, a very interesting sort of like rush mid-range warrior with Deadman's Hand. I'm not exactly sure what this is. I don't think I've ever seen this deck before. And then Even Warlock. And they are just going into game. Perfect. So we are also going to hop right in.
Gul'dan versus Magni.
Spectator UI? Hello? Spectator UI? Spectator UI, please let me spectate. Alright. The other way seems to be working out. I think it might be that David has spectate function turned off otherwise. Well, we can quickly and we are gonna see the Rush Warrior come out first against the Q Block, which was bugged and wouldn't let me see the hands. Let's try this again. Hearthstone is unfortunately made by a very smart dev, which apparently struggles with functionality like a reasonable spectator UI. So yeah, let's try this again. Hopefully we get to see the hand of our Q Block player this time. Please. And finally, let there be light. So I have zero clue about this matchup. I want to say the Q Block is probably favored. Let me pull up the deck list real quick. On the left side we have this very interesting warrior deck. So we see there's no Brawl. There's no particularly good way of dealing with big Q Block hands. And on the right side, we have Q-Block, which is a deck that's been under the radar recently. I think a lot of people are just bored of Q-Block after its prevalence in the
So
previous
many
metas,
choices.
but it's still pretty strong. There's nothing wrong with it. Obviously, in the very long game, with Deadman's Hands, the warrior can always grind it out. But, I mean, I don't know. Like, without Code Light Oracle, without Bring It On, like, it's not like it's a fantastic grind. I'm not entirely sure what the win condition is of this warrior, to be honest. Also, apparently there are 2 brawls. I don't know why I didn't see it the first pass around. Strange. Anyways, Warlock has Giggling Inventor because that card is broken as heck, and while your Warpath is an answer to Giggling Inventor, you really don't want to spend coin Warpath on turn 6. Doesn't feel great. So, yeah, we're gonna see a pretty slow play. I might. Okay, so I was thinking about like seeing Acolyte, maybe she'll block coin Acolyte. But he can get punished and overdrawn if all 3 minions trade in. And so let's say he's gonna avoid that. He really doesn't want to mill Dr. Boom Mad Scientist, which is what I'm guessing the win condition of this deck is. And on the other side, fortunately for Joshua, although he doesn't know it, he has not drawn a Skull of Minari, which obviously there's a Harrison Jones waiting right for it. Although Harrison Jones would make him overdraw. Plays the second Goodling, and Warpath is going to come out now to clear out this very, very annoying board. I mean, honestly, not the hugest deal. We're probably going to see like Lackey Pact now, is my guess. We have Q-Block, not Q-Block, Carnivorous Cube Pact as a potential follow-up. Goldan's already in hand. Like, there's a great hand for the Warlock player. And he pulls a Void Lord. I think if you're the Warlock, maybe you prefer to pull on Doomguard, just so you can put a little more face pressure. Since, especially from the spectator perspective, we see that there's no Shield Slam to deal with Doomguard in hand. And so it would therefore be cubable next turn. And
Maybe... No.
on the other hand, yeah, there's not a great way to deal with Void Lords in this warrior deck. Like, that thing's just gonna be big. Like, Omega Assembly on non-10 feels really terrible. Like, double Militia Commander, is that your play? It's not terrible.
Maybe...
You end up with two 2/2s. Like, I can maybe see it. Thins out the hand a little bit too, so you're less afraid of playing like Harrison into a Skull of the Minari. But again, none of this is super inspiring.
I gotta move! Maybe... No.
And he's gonna end up going for Acolyte of Pain, Town Crier to dig. There's no more rush minions in the deck, which should give Joshua some information that both militia commanders are in hand. I'm actually very surprised if we're running like double Town Crier that Darius Crowley isn't in this deck. Darius is a card that gets a ton of value, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I guess this is a very anti-aggro warrior. That's my best guess. I have to expect that that's maybe the win condition here. But it's definitely a strange list, one that I don't really know how it operates. So it's very interesting to see it at work. Deadman's Hand is drawn. I'm guessing you don't commit that this early, especially without the other DMH, but again, no clue. So one thing we might see now, for example, well, it's too late now, but I was thinking potentially Town Crier, Weapon, Militia Commander. That's still going to be the play, but a Militia is now going to be 1 health left. 1 health less, which is a little unfortunate. Dry Whisker Armor comes out. That is the correct order, yes. 4 minions rather than 3. But, yeah, 1 HP less on the Militia Commander. Maybe not a huge deal. Gets Mortal Coiled, but it's another one. Maybe it plays around Defile, I'm not entirely sure what the idea was there. But this is a bit of an awkward hand from the Warlock, just because you obviously don't want to play Doomguard from hand, and he has a lot of things that rely on having minions, but... Alright, we're gonna see him tap into the second Void Lord. That probably is just gonna have played Raw next turn. And Doomsayer to clear the board, why not? Slam comes out the cycle. Pretty slow plays for both players. This game would have sped up a lot if, for example, the Warlock got Doom Guard instead of the Void Lord from the Possessed Lackey earlier, but it's just how it is. Dr. Boom Mad Santis comes out, which is obviously huge for this deck. It lets all of the mechs that he's going to discover from Omega Assembly rush, which I believe is the idea. But Void Lord drops, and it turns out Void Lord's yeah, Void Lord's big. Almost definitely gonna see Omega Assembly come out here, I think. Makes a ton of sense with Mad Scientist now. But again, I don't really understand what the win condition is for this warrior deck to beat this Warlock.
Be a good time for a master plan.
This would be a good time for a master plan. He pulls some middling minions from it. Nothing great, but also nothing terrible. There's no like what's a really fast mechanic? Like the 1-1 Skater Bob, for example, would be a really bad pull. And so yeah, it's just playing the long game. For those of you who aren't familiar with Dr. Boom Mad Scientist, he cycles through a set of hero powers randomly every turn. I don't actually know what half these hero powers do, because it's pretty rare for me to see it either way. Josh is going to cube out, or cube his Void Lord, accidentally missing 3 damage from not attacking. That's unfortunate, but honestly probably not going to be a huge deal in the long run. I was curious whether or not we're going to see like a faceless on the cube. We aren't. Not particularly surprised. Delivery drone lets him discover a mech with the minor problem that his hand is super full. He's gonna go for the delivery drone now. Pull Dynomatic, which is a pretty good card. He's gonna coin, play Harvest Golem, free up some hand space for the next Omega Assembly. Although I wonder if he wants to Dead Man's Hand the next Omega Assembly, because that's obviously a massive value generator. That could be really cool. I wonder if the game plan is to delay until you have 3 cards left in the game, which is Dead Man's, and Omega Assembly, and then you just cycle through Omega Assemblies. That would be really, really cool. I hope that's what it is. I would really like to see that. Yeah, on the other side, there's a bunch of moderately non-threatening mechs. Like, I don't think if you're the Warlock, you're panicked in any way. Like, you could, for example, play Godfrey to clear this, but I honestly don't see why you would bother. At this rate, I think you really want to play the Lackey. You want to dig for the second Doomguard before it comes in hand, because you really don't want to be hard casting Doomguards in this matchup, especially knowing that your opponent has Harrison Jones in his deck, since there's an open decklist format. And so yeah, I'd really like to see the Lackey, possibly even Lackey Hellfire. Like, Lackey Hellfire makes a ton of sense here, honestly. You can trade off a good chunk of minions. And guarantee yourself a Doomguard. But we're gonna see Mercy killing Godfrey instead. Yeah, I don't know, I like this. But I mean, it's not terrible. It gets you some on board. But yeah, I really would have liked to see the Lackey, I think. And these guard bots are annoying and did a bunch of damage. Second Dead Man's Hand comes in. I'm not sure he wants to commit it just yet. Gaining 7 armor is obviously really nice. He's facing down 10 damage a turn, which, like, moderately threatening, not the hugest deal. He is just gonna Dead Man's Hand here. So, probably gonna see... It's still a little awkward with this mana. We are gonna see a second Omega. Okay. Brilliant Nullifier is not particularly useful. Eternium Rover is not great this late into the game, although, I mean, and Harvest Golem is pretty interesting, but he's gonna Blast Shield, and I totally agree with that. On their side, please Lackey now. I really want to see that Lackey. Lackey's gonna come now. I don't like pacting this. I feel like you probably want to save pack for second cube. But I don't know. I played a good chunk of a decent chunk of cube block in the previous meta, but I'm not super familiar with the deck. On the other side, Warpath does an alright job of clearing some of the minions, but it leaves the scariest ones. It leaves Doomguard alive, which is pretty bad. Zap Cannon, actually you can kill, no, that's really nice. You Warpath 4 times and Zap Cannon the Doomguard. That's really nice. All it leaves is a 3-1 Void Lord on on board. I really like that play. We're gonna see if that's what ends up happening. He might see a better play than me. I again have not a great plan. Or he's gonna brawl instead. I think I would have liked to see the brawl be safe for the go down turn. I know he does have a second brawl in this deck, but wow, and the Doomguard lives. That's so unfortunate. So that's the other reason why I didn't like the brawl. There's a chance of Doomguard living, and letting Doomguard live against Q block it's real dangerous. Whereas Warpath Zap Cannon was sort of guaranteed. And so after that unfortunate turn of events, not sure what's gonna happen here. Doesn't have any particularly great plays, unfortunately. And he's just gonna play Dynamatic. See what happens. Probably trade into the full health guy. Yeah, that's alright. Not terrible. We're gonna see some Void Lords hitting face now. I mean, some Doomguards hitting face rather. Cube happens. I think we'll probably see a faceless on this cube. Yeah. There's no silence in this warrior deck. Again, open deck list. And so these cubes are pretty scary. They got some fatties inside. Double Hellfire is 6 damage and pops both cubes for 20 more. So that's really strong. For example, all 4 minions hitting face is 10 damage. 2 Hellfires is 6, and then 20 more from Doomguards is let's see, 10, 16, 36 damage, which is 2 off lethal. So that's a potential play there.
Magic neutralized.
Not gonna happen. Big magnetic Eternium Rover is pretty cool. I like that. And yeah, not much to say. We might just see like, I like Voidwalker in Defile for 1, both cubes in, and then 4 Doomguards to face. I think that's a pretty strong play. He's probably calculating lethal right now. 9 plus 6 is 15, plus 20 is 35. Unfortunately, not quite there. So yeah, I think I sort of like seeing that. Kobold Librarian. Unfortunately, you can't Spellstone that. Brilliant Nullifier can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Is that a bit of an ordering mishap? Depends on whether or not he's planning on defiling or not. There's a chance he's planning on like Hellfiring instead, for example, which I wouldn't be against, for example, in that case. Not entirely sure what his game plan is here.
Almost out of time.
Either way, this Voidwalker probably goes face. Yeah, this Voidwalker goes... Well, I guess if he's planning on defiling, it doesn't, but it's just a little awkward. And he has just moved over to Hellfire. He misses 1 point of face damage by not attacking the Voidwalker, but more scarily, the rope is burning down and he might be missing some face damage from the Doomguards. Oh no, 10 damage missed. That's very unfortunate. Let's see, 2 executes in hand, but... And the ability is summon 3 rushing microbots. He can deal with 2 of the Doomguards, but I don't think there's a way for him to deal with more than that.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
See, the worst part about solo casting is it's just been a dead time when you're taking sips of water. A little unfortunate, but nothing bad. Dynamatic comes in. I wouldn't mind Dynamatic Execute, honestly. Hero Power double execute's also alright, but you're always scared of the go down follow up. And if you're the warrior, you really want to see Brawl on soon, because that go down is going to come out, and that go down is going to be scary.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
And we're going to see the Micro Squad. 3 Russian Microbots. He's going to go for the Hero Power double execute. Curious to see whether or not he Harvest Gold. Oh, never mind. No mana. I'm sorry. Discounted. And next turn, he's gonna get the Delivery Drone again. Always solid. I think it's pretty clear to Joshua that that Brawl does not exist in the Warrior's hand. And so I think at this point, you're contemplating Go Down. You're contemplating Mountain Giant to threaten more. Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty commanding position. No need to overstretch. Definitely don't tap, whatever you do. So the one thing Warrior has going for him is that this Warlock is rapidly approaching 15. I really don't like the Librarian. Wow. I am not a fan of the Librarian at all. Like, I get that he's trying to play Skull for Nari, but
What mess have you
I would
summoned
rather
me
not.
to?
Like, why give him a Harrison Jones to draw into Brawl? Like, this late in the game, it's fairly likely that his Harrison comes out immediately. And like, with such a commanding board presence, I'm not a fan of this at all. Brawl is not found though. Very unfortunate for our Warrior player. And so this is a pretty dominant looking board state, honestly. Let's see if there's any good way for him to clear out minions. Like, Dynamatic is not going to do it.
Okay then.
Weapons Project Shield Slam, on the other hand, does let him get rid of a Dim Guard. Pretty cool. That's a nice interaction there. Delivery Drone for Ziliax is always super strong. Picked this so fast I didn't actually register the other options. Well, I mean, it's Ziliax. There is the second Mountain Giant. Both Mountain Giants at the bottom of the deck are a tad unfortunate, but not a huge deal. Spellstone is going to let him heal up a bunch, and he's going to continue pushing face damage to an opponent who continues to not have answers to these big minions. And we obviously know that there's a go down refill right after this, even if Brawl gets top decked, which it does. We're almost definitely going to see cornered Sentry Brawl. That makes a ton of sense to me. We're just waiting for it. Might be Harvest Golem cornered Sentry Brawl. That sort of works too. But I think you just corner the Brawl and see what happens.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
There's a 4 out of 7 chance that life is pretty good for you there. I wonder what else he's considering. Warpath is not going to cut it, I don't believe. Ziliax is... Oh, maybe he's thinking about like Dynamatic
Okay,
Ziliax
then.
that makes a 6/6 and chances are it can kill a minion and tank a bunch of damage. So maybe that's what he's thinking about. Little curious.
Oh, I love that music.
It's gonna be Harvest Golem Ziliax.
Precision.
Very interesting. 5/5. With the Zap Cannon, right? That makes sense. That combines the Giant. Fatigue's starting to tick a little bit. I wonder if you just commit Blood Reaver go down now. It's not the worst idea. And yeah, I'm out.
Abide.
Makes sense.
And shadow.
I feel like I'm missing something. Wow, that is a lot of damage. It's weird. Sorry, I'm just looking at the Prince Tautoram in the Warlock deck and wondering why I don't register seeing it at all. Maybe it got burnt or something, but I don't remember this at all. On the other side, this is a
would be
really
good
grim
time for a
situation for the
master
Warrior.
plan.
Brawl helps a ton here, obviously, but even post-Brawl, he's on 4 HP and facing down a heck of a lot of damage. So he's gonna need Brawl and some form of armor gain. Armor gain in his deck is Dry Whisker Armor. I can't remember whether or not he actually
then.
has one in his deck. Otherwise, there's no real way for him to recover health. He's gonna Brawl, maybe the 1/3 survives. I honestly still don't see the way out here. Void Lord survives, which is the option of least damage on the board, but I think the Warrior player's run ends here.
Nice little raptors.
Yeah, he's just gonna play some random crap and well, game is over. I mean, I guess it's not over from his point of view. The taunt can still technically save him, but we see Guard Hero Power easy lethal. Or Hellfire Hero Power.
Nicely done.
Or, yeah. Yeah, plenty of options. And so that's going to be 1-0. Very long game. Does end up going for the cube in the favor of the cube block player. And this warrior deck is really ends up being eliminated. Unfortunately, without being able to show its existence. And yeah, I don't know. Very interesting warrior deck, but I'm still questioning what its late game win condition is. Feels like a deck that may be weak to, for example, Death Rattle Hunter, to Quest Rogue, to Cube Lock as we just saw, maybe even Lock. I think maybe it can grind out the super late game with Omega Assembly and Deadman's Hand, and it looks like it has enough removal to maybe be good against aggro, but it is those really strong mid-range combo decks that we see basically taking over the meta recently that this looks like it may struggle against. And we're going to go into game 2. Interested to see what David comes out with. He has 2 options, either his Rogue or his Warlock. Let me quickly pull up the list to see what archetypes those are. It is a Quest Rogue and Even Lock, and he is going to go with the Even Lock against the Cube Lock. I want to say the Even Lock is slightly favored. The favoredness is fairly contingent on getting turn 3 Mountain Giant, but turn 3 Mountain Giant is so unbelievably strong that it can just win the game by itself, basically. And let me quickly pull up the deck for the overlay. And we do see Mountain Giant in opening hand, so that's turn 3 Mountain Giant. You can tap down to 15 and get some big 7/7 hook reavers in the mid game. This is basically the dream opener for Cube Lock, for Even Lock against Cube Lock. Even against the Swamp Ooze, which is really strong against the mid game Skull of Minari. On the other side, like Giggling Inventor exists. Let's take a quick look at the tech options of the Even Lock. Oh, it pulls the other Mountain Giant. This is such an amazing opener. And I would have loved to see Doomsayer come out here from the Cube Block just to sort of put up a threat going into the Mountain Giant turn, force something to happen. We see Bossy Horror for the potential Giggling Inventor, like just fantastic opener. We're gonna see Mountain Giant, Coin, Vogar, Homunculus. Like, that is just such a good play. Coin, Vogar, go face. Like, this is amazing. No Vogar is really confusing to me. He can protect the minions. He can just do so much damage. Like, he would have been able to put his opponent at 2 HP this turn. I really don't like it. I really. Oh wait, never mind. Bossy is 1 mana short. But like, I would have liked. Works out for him in the end. He can coin out the Bossy Horror, which clears out this awesome Giggling Inventor turn. You see that the Even Lock does only run 1 copy of the Bossy Horror, but it's obviously amazing against Spreading Plague in the Druid matchup, which is less relevant here since Druid was banned, and it's amazing against Giggling Inventor in every single matchup because that card is ridiculous and is all over the place. And so, Cube Block player is really low. I'm not sure how he's going to survive this. In fact, I don't. Like, he can Spellstone and technically not die, but technically not dying doesn't feel great. And I mean, yeah, like, we don't see a lethal in this Even Lock hand, but I'm not sure it matters. He's going to be able to put down his opponent to 3 health. If Hellfire pops up as lethal, I'd like to see a tap. Definitely tap. Tap into Hellfire as lethal. It's not Hellfire, but nonetheless, he has options. He can put down his opponent to 3 health. I like the here. It does end up being a little. So he needs to watch out for Lord Godfrey. Ends up being fine. He doesn't play into it. From the other side, Dark Pact would have been a massive game swinger here if he gets Black Key Pact and pulls Void Lord. That could have potentially brought it back, but as is, I don't believe there's any outs. He can tap into Giggling Inventor. I think that is his only path to survival right now. I cannot see anything else. Wait, no, Hellfire Defile also does it. Hellfire Defile clears out both of the larger minions. So, but no, he's gonna tap. And he's gonna fail to tap into. Well, he taps into Spellstone. Spellstone Mortal Coil keeps him barely alive, 2 HP. And gets Minari. On the other side, 1 damage off lethal yet again. Hellfire is still lethal. We'll see what he plays here. He obviously can't tap because no cards. He plays Vulgar. He taps. I'm guessing he taps to try to pull Hellfire for lethal. He is going to do so. It's not Hellfire, and oh no, this plays into a massive Lord Godfrey turn. If he plays Plated Beetle, or really if he plays anything. I might consider playing Hook Reaver instead to play around Godfrey, but this is going to play straight into the Godfrey. Godfrey is going to be pretty brutal here and buy him yet another turn to try to draw into something good. And Demonic Project, yeah, I'm not sure about that. You have some pretty good minions in your hand. Void Lord is drawn, but I think Godfrey almost definitely has to be played here. And so, I mean, this has to be Godfrey, right? Wait, no, never mind. I'm an idiot. Godfrey doesn't get off the first tick. Yeah, let's just pretend no one heard anything. I'm really bad at this game. Don't worry about it. That's game over. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. No one heard anything. This cast does not exist. I'm gonna delete the VOD afterwards. That's lethal. Never doubted David for a second there. He knew exactly what he was doing. To play around Godfrey. And yeah, I clearly don't play enough Warlock. Really bad at Defile math. Really bad at Godfrey math. And so that is in fact going to tie up the series 1 apiece. Gosh, it's a tad bit embarrassing. Hopefully no one's watching. And the Q block from Josh has now been defeated. And we're gonna see Josh come out with either Paladin or Rogue. He's gonna go for Odd Paladin. That's very
I will fight with honor.
interesting.
Your soul shall be mine.
Where's this text? Josh Paladin. Odd Paladin, from my experience, is slightly unfavored against the even lock, whereas Quest Rogue can really, completely wreck the even lock. So I'm a little curious to see the Odd Paladin come out. Defile on the opening hand is great. Let's take a quick look at Odd Paladin list because that's always interesting. You see that he's running double Atris Veteran, double Argent
We
Spire,
have turned our curse into our strength.
double Divine Favor,
The light dims.
no Blood Knights, no Void Terrors. He's running double Vine Cleaver, a single copy of Stormer Champion. So Odd Paladin as a shell, we've seen a lot of different iterations of and a lot of different things in it.
Reporting
And so this is sort of almost like a little more old school of a list. I've seen a lot of Glowtron, for example, recently in Odd Paladin. Oh my gosh, another turn 3 Mountain Giant. From my experience as even lock, you totally just tap here. Like the 1/1s aren't super threatening, and you're gonna get a brutal Defile in a little bit as long as you don't leave up dudes for the level up turn.
So many
So
possibilities.
yeah, I would totally tap here, and then Mountain Giant turn 3, Twilight Drake turn 4. Like you can fight the board perfectly well, or rather Mountain Giant turn 3, Defile turn 4, and then like Twilight Drake after that. Like really strong. I would totally tap. Curious to see what he's thinking about. He's gonna go for a Plated Beetle to contest board early. I'm not a fan of this at all. Like you have Defile. What are you scared of? There's nothing really in Paladin at health buffs except for the 1 in 4 un-ID'd ball that gives Divine Shield, and even that's not like super powerful. On the other hand, very surprising to see the Paladin not go face. Not a fan of this either. Yeah, just sort of curious as to the game plans all around. Gonna see tap Ogre. That's not a super unexpected turn. Other side, we're almost definitely going to see Paladin try to load up into as many guys as he can going into turn 5. I'm actually really surprised to see him trade in. Like, you have double level up. I feel like you want to just build a big board of guys. You don't play around AoE. If AoE happens, like, tough luck, but the Vogar is going to take a lot of damage from the AoE anyways.
But we
So yeah,
fight.
not a big fan of,
The light protects me.
not a huge fan of the plays coming out. Like, he's going to make some more
Reporting
guys.
for duty.
AoE's still going to end up punishing him. And, you definitely Defile going against, or you probably Defile going against the Paladin's turn 5. There's actually an argument to be made for Hellfire instead. You leave some minions up, but next turn this allows you to do like Defile coin Twilight Drake, or Twilight Drake coin Defile, or Mountain Giant coin Defile. All of these are very good plays next turn. So yeah, I think I actually like that, quite like the Hellfire here. 2 1/1s are not particularly threatening. Paladin doesn't have a great way to buff them, and yeah, really fine with this. Hellfire, come on.
I want.
Honestly, even if you don't Hellfire, like a single level up on 2 guys is not super threatening. Like, I wouldn't even be that opposed to seeing like tap Mountain Giant or Twilight Drake, but Hellfire is just, it's clean.
Almost out of time. So many possibilities.
So we're gonna see tap Defile. Not really opposing this play either. I think I like the Hellfire a little better just because of what I said earlier. Fungomancer would have been the one thing that punished the Hellfire, so I guess pretty good tap Defile.
Out of my
Stonehill Defender, that's pretty good card. Unfortunately doesn't get Tarim, which is obviously amazing.
Reporting
And
for
2
duty.
guys. Yeah, not, again, you're not super scared of this if you're the Warlock. Like, you can coin Mossy Horror if you want, it fights for board pretty well. Looks like that's exactly what's happening. Once you remove the guys. I also would have been totally fine with just like Mountain Giant. Like, as the Warlock right now, you're in a pretty commanding position. We
Reporting for
see
duty.
Guy Serenite here.
How long?
Continues to be really
How long?
uninspiring. We could see Hellfire, some Fury. Again, I don't really care for it. Like, I'd rather just see like tap Mountain Giant, honestly. Or Twilight Drake, some Fury is pretty reasonable.
Shields up.
And yeah, should be fine by me. On the other side, I mean, hero power level up is a
Reporting for
pretty
duty.
gimme play. You basically have to. No, he's gonna go for the Fungomancer instead. Try to get a really fat level up next turn, I believe. But this is gonna get punished horrifically by Hellfire. Oh gosh, that's brutal. That is a sickening
That was a
Hellfire.
mistake.
Tap Hellfire Evoker. Amazing. There's an argument to be made for playing the Hellfire off the top for the tilt factor. I always like making the tilt factor plays. Either way, this is great. Can't complain about this at all. Other side, we're probably gonna see Stonehill Defender. Tyrion's pretty good. Can't complain about Tyrion. Either Atreus Divine Favor or Guy Divine Favor. I really want to see Divine Favor here. I think you have to play Divine Favor. Yep. She's gonna draw up to 7 cards. But the chain's gonna come down. Another big taunt, like further big taunts coming down the pipe, and Hook Reaver. This is just a commanding position for the Warlock player at this point. Like, Paladin is drawing to his big beats, but honestly, like, suddenly Warlock is at the point of the game where he's putting a ton of face pressure on. Like, you might not realize, but this is 2 turns from lethal for the Warlock player. Next turn you play like Twilight Drake Mountain Giant, that's an enormous board, or you play, actually no, you probably play like Hellfire Hook Reaver. Ooh. Does Acidic Swamp Ooze change anything? I honestly don't think it does. Like, I would just Hellfire Hook Reaver and be fine with that. We're gonna see Defile, Hook Reaver, Ooze, sure. Why not? Also good. Like, this game is over. I'm calling this game right now, actually. It's just 2-1 in favor of the even lock. And we're gonna see finally Quest Rogue come out, which is honestly what I expected to see this game. It's a much better matchup against the even lock than Odd Paladin has.
Victory is yours.
Our Paladin player concedes, and so yeah, David's up 2-1, and it's up to Quest Rogue to call out Josh. Quest Rogue does have a pretty good matchup against Evenlock, as I mentioned earlier. Oh, it's Odd Rogue. Wait, Odd Rogue also has a great matchup against Evenlock. I'm still really surprised to see, wait, is it Odd Rogue? Am I misreading lists? No, this is Josh's Rogue, yeah, so it is Odd Rogue. Odd Rogue has a great matchup against Evenlock. Surprised to see the Paladin come out first, especially since the last deck for David is
versus Valera.
West Rogue after this.
Watch
So in fairness,
your
Josh still has a very good chance to win,
Your
just because
soul shall be
Odd Rogue is
mine.
highly favored against both Evenlock and Quest Rogue. But like, why lose to Paladin? Paladin has another great matchup against Quest Rogue that we can just load up. So yeah, I would have really liked to see the Odd Rogue come out first, but it is what it is.
We have turned our curse into our strength.
None will survive.
Yeah, for those of you who are unfamiliar, this is a fantastic matchup for the Odd Rogue. It's somewhere in the vicinity of 60%. Odd Rogue just puts so much pressure so fast. You play either Dharma or Argent Squire. I like the Argent Squire, but it's fairly equal. You curve out turn 2 Dagger, turn 3 Hench, just damage, damage, damage. The double Ooze in the Warlock does help it a tiny bit. Like, we're gonna see Dagger, we're gonna see Ooze as a counterplay, but I mean, still pretty good. Put in 3 face damage. I would have liked to see the face hit. You always face hit on too. And Ooze gonna come out and punish that, but next turn we're just gonna see 0 power, 1 drop. Looks like deckhand to put out some damage. Fine with me. Perfectly good play. But yeah, I would like to see 2 more face damage really. Like this entire game plan for Rogue is you just kill the heck out of this this Warlock as quickly as possible. Twilight Drake comes down. One unique thing in this Odd Rogue that we don't see nearly as much recently is double Iron Beak Owl. In fact, this 3-drop package is very interesting. We have double Iron Beak Owl, we have 1 Tar Creeper, and so it's missing some of the more modern stuff that we see, which is like Void Ripper, face hit into the Drake, by the way, which is like the Void Ripper, the Blood Knight, stuff like that. We also see Captain Greenskin, we see no Myra, we do see Myra, yeah, curious Baku Rogue list. I'd say it's like a little bit, it's a list I would have very much expected to see like a month or 2 ago, but maybe less so recently. And so Warlock's down to 17 health. It's not bad. The Owl did come in really handy to clear out the pesky Twilight Drake, which is really nice. But I mean, Warlock's still looking pretty good. You know, you toss up like double Homunculus, you're on 11 health, but you also have a decent set of taunts out there. And obviously, if you ever draw into Hook Reaver, that card's amazing in this matchup. On the other side, yeah, it's starting to get a tad bit awkward for the Rogue player. You still haven't been able to get your opening hand Hench Clan down, which is never a good feeling. And having to trade minions into taunts also doesn't feel great.
Who goes there?
So 1 mana short of a really good SI play, which is unfortunate. He's just gonna have to dump double 1 drop. And if he does dump double 1 drop, this board gets destroyed by Defile. If he doesn't, it gets destroyed by Hellfire, so like whatever. And he's just gonna re-dagger. Hellfire does bring the Warlock down to 8 health, which is a little scary. 8 health loses like Leroy Coldblood, it loses to Leroy, it actually just loses to Leroy in general. So like, you don't feel great doing that. Other options here are like, you sort of have to Hellfire, don't you? It's really tough to deal with the Hench Clan otherwise. There's like Spellbreaker, Trade, Defile as a potential play, but that feels really awkward. There's Shroom Brewer, Sunfury, but then you're leaving Hench Clan up. Actually, it's not terrible. Although we see that the Valspine in hand is going to punish that really hard if he chooses to go for that. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of pressure being put on this Warlock player. It's hit point pool. Yeah, that's a hard position. Like, being dead on board to Leroy never feels good, and it looks like he is going to go for the Shroom Brewer Sun Fury. Ah, Shroom Brewer. No, it is going to be the Sun Fury. Okay. Yeah. I'm expecting to see one drop Argent Squire, to be specific, into Valspine
The
here.
light protects me.
Get a pound and a lot of face damage. Weapon goes into 2/2, and you put the Warlock down to 9 health. I think that turn honestly sort of plays itself. It's absolutely what you have to do here as the rogue. Ton of pressure, feels good. I don't know what you're considering. You don't trade. You absolutely don't trade in a place like this. And yeah, so second Defile gets drawn. Like, there's a good amount of AoE in this hand. Although, unfortunately, there's not a particularly good way to chain it together. Like, sure, Defile Hellfire is good, but like, meh. Looks like he's gonna go for... No, never mind. One Defile clears everything. I'm bad at Defile, man. Don't worry about it. And he gets a nice Thunder break afterwards. On the other side, I'm expecting to see Blink Fox SI and a face hit. Sure. I mean, Firefly, Blink Fox SI and a face hit, but like Blink Fox first.
This guy's toast.
Oh, I don't like that. No. You save that as a Valspine activator. Blink Fox all the way here. Definitely Blink Fox. You have mana for one drop Valspine dagger next turn. Like Blink Fox. Blink Fox. Blink. Oh no, what are you? I disagree with that play mildly. I would have definitely liked to see a Blink Fox, but it is what it is. Some taunts come out, which, you know, having an extra minion on board would have been nice. You know, you could have Fungomancered that Blink Fox, for example. Yeah. And now this is given the Warlock a tiny chance to stabilize. I mean, it's not huge. Warlock's still on 3 health, but even Warlock does have a good chunk of heal. And there's one. Lesser Amethyst Spellstone. Unfortunately, the Spellstone cannot be upgraded. It's not happening. I mean, you can do it like Dread Infernal, I believe, is the only remaining upgrader for the Spellstone until you can heal up. But I mean, Spellstone's pretty good here. Like Spellstone, trade some crap in, play a minion, whatever. Like play Ooze, play something, Breaker even. Seems fine to me. I Blink Fox, dude. Like I don't like Blink Fox in general in Odd Rogue, but not playing it there was just a bit of a head scratcher to me when you had mana for Firefly Valspine. So yeah, he's gonna go for the Spellstone Spellbreaker, which I'm fine with. I agree with this. Gonna tap down to 4, which I agree a little less with, but Hooked Reaver is a fantastic pool. Okay, now we Blink Fox. Let's see. Unwilling Sacrifice is interesting. There's a 50-50 of getting the taunt and letting you put him down to 2 HP, but I think I like the Fungomancer more. I also think you continue to hit your face into the 2/4. Absolutely. Without question. It's gonna Code Blood instead. Okay. This is alright. There's probably a good Defile in here. Yeah. Defile, Ooze, Hooked Reaver. Continuing to wall up. Just thinking back to Blink Fox, what would have been the best card off it? Probably Blood Reaver Godan. Oh, Silence is pretty big here. If he silences this, And Unwilling's the taunt. That would be amazing. I'm totally on board with that plan. I am totally on board with the Unwilling Sacrifice. You're behind on board. You basically can't get the board back. Do it. Do it. Do it. Seriously, if you get the taunt, you have so many outs for lethal with like SI as the top deck, Leroy, whatever, loads of things. Unwilling 1 and 3? Not quite, but it gets the biggest minion, which is almost as good. And so yeah, so a lot of outs for lethal. Oh, Lich King is a ridiculously great one here. This makes it much harder for me. I think the only out for the Rogue now may be... Well, that's definitely not it. I was going to say second Blink Fox into something amazing. But that's going to be game. That's going to be a 3-1 series win for David. Congratulations. And, awesome. It's getting late. It's around my bedtime. I sleep pretty early. But, I think that's also all the games for tonight anyways. I think that's about going to do it for me. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Have a good night. And see y'all next time.